Hospital experiments. On August 12, 2002 in Elmdale, Ohio, the sun began its descent, casting long shadows over the town's forgotten structures. Among them stood the old Elmdale General Hospital, a colossal building, its windows broken or boarded up, and nature slowly reclaiming its walls. Tales of the hospital's haunted past were passed down through generations, becoming Elmdale's most infamous urban legend. To most, it was just a story, a fun scare during Halloween. But to some, like Sam, Olivia, and Leo, it was a challenge waiting to be taken. The three college friends, all 20 years old, shared an insatiable curiosity for the supernatural. Armed with flashlights, a camera, and the thrill of adventure, they decided that tonight was the night they would venture into the very heart of Elmdale's ghost stories. As the trio approached the hospital's rusty gates, the weight of its history pressed upon them. Olivia hesitated for a moment, her flashlight illuminating a faded sign that read, Elmdale General, Est 1912. Leo, with his signature grin, playfully nudged her forward, while Sam, ever the planner, checked the batteries in his camera. "We're only going to be inside for an hour, tops. Just a quick look around," Sam tried to assure Olivia, though his voice held a hint of uncertainty. The echoing sound of the main entrance door creaking open swallowed their laughter and chatter. The darkness inside beckoned, and the stories of the haunted hospital seemed all too real. Little did they know, their adventure was about to take a turn they could never have imagined. Inside, the hospital seemed frozen in time. Dust motes floated in the feeble beams of their flashlights, revealing peeling paint and broken tiles underfoot. The walls were lined with faded murals of serene landscapes, a stark contrast to the eerie atmosphere that enveloped the trio. They began their journey in the hospital's once bustling lobby. A grand staircase, now in ruins, led to the upper floors, while old patient records littered the reception desk. Among the scattered papers, Leo found an old newspaper clipping from 1958 detailing a mysterious patent disappearance, which only added to the excitement. "Can you imagine being a patient here?" Olivia mused, her voice echoing slightly. She was looking at a large dusty portrait of a stern-looking doctor that hung crookedly on the wall. The plaque beneath read, Dr. Alistair Crane, Chief Surgeon. Leo, ever the joker, pretended to be a ghost, floating behind Sam and moaning dramatically. Sam, trying hard not to laugh, scolded, "Cut it out, we're supposed to be serious investigators." The group moved from room to room, making their way down the long, dimly lit corridors. They explored old patient rooms, some still containing rusty bed frames and tattered curtains. In one room, Olivia found an old music box. As she wound it up, a haunting melody filled the air, making the hairs on the back of Sam's neck stand up. As hours slipped by, the initial fear began to wane, replaced by fascination. The hospital, despite its derelict state, told countless stories of the past. But as the clock ticked closer to midnight, the atmosphere shifted. A sense of unease began to settle, and the trio realized they weren't as alone as they had thought. The once lively banter between the friends began to quieten as the oppressive weight of the hospital's history pressed in on them. Sam, ever the diligent documentarian, paused to adjust his camera settings in a particularly dim hallway. Olivia, slightly on edge, examined a series of old framed photographs lining the walls. They depicted staff and patients from decades past, their faces frozen in time, staring back with helloes. It was then that they realized Leo was no longer with them. "Leo." Sam called out, trying to keep his voice steady. His shouts echoed back, but there was no reply. Olivia's grip tightened on her flashlight, her beam darting nervously from one shadowy corner to the next. "He's probably trying to pull another prank," she whispered, though doubt tinged her voice. The two retraced their steps, calling out for their friend. They navigated through winding corridors and abandoned wards, but there was no sign of Leo. The atmosphere grew thicker, and a cold chill seemed to permeate the air, making every sound more pronounced. In their search, they stumbled upon a dilapidated nurse's station. On the counter lay an old intercom system. To their surprise, it crackled to life, emitting a static-filled silence. From amidst the static, they could faintly hear what sounded like Leo's voice. His tone panicked and distant. "Sam, Olivia, where are you?" Dread settled in the pits of their stomachs. The voice on the intercom was abruptly cut off, replaced by an eerie silence. The reality of the situation began to sink in. Their playful exploration had taken a dark turn. and the labyrinthine hospital had claimed one of their own. Determined, yet terrified, Sam and Olivia pressed on, hoping against hope that they would find Leo safe and sound. As the minutes stretched on, every creak and groan of the building heightened Olivia's anxiety. The two continued their desperate search, the weight of Leo's absence growing heavier with each passing moment. In their frantic state, they found themselves on the second floor where a grim sight awaited. Olivia, with her flashlight leading the way, stumbled upon a long-forgotten operating theater. The room was a chilling tableau. Rusted surgical tools lay scattered, and an old operating table stood at the center, its leather straps frayed with age. It was here that Olivia made a heart-stopping discovery. Leo's flashlight, still on, its beam illuminating the tarnished tiles, and beside it his camera. The room was eerily silent, save for the faint hum of the flashlight. Sam approached the camera, hoping it would provide some clue to their friend's whereabouts. Playing back the most recent footage, they watched in mounting horror. The video showed Leo entering the operating theater, his face a mask of curiosity. As he panned the room, a shadowy figure briefly appeared in the corner of the frame, only to vanish the next moment. The last seconds of the video captured Leo's startled face before the camera abruptly dropped, ending the recording. Olivia, her voice trembling, whispered, "What was that figure? It looked like Dr. Alistair Crane." Sam finished her sentence, recalling the portrait they'd seen earlier. The revelation was chilling. If the legends were true, then the malevolent spirit of Dr. Crane still roamed these halls, and Leo had crossed its path. With renewed urgency and fear for their friend's safety, the two knew they had to delve deeper into the hospital's haunting secrets. Driven by a mixture of dread and determination, Sam and Olivia decided their best chance of finding Leo was to head to the basement. Legends spoke of underground tunnels and sealed chambers where the hospital's darkest secrets lay buried. A narrow staircase, its steps slick with decades of dampness, led them downward. The air grew colder, and a pungent odor of mold and decay filled their nostrils. The dim glow of their flashlights revealed walls stained with age and moisture, and the faint outline of long-forgotten doors. As they ventured deeper, they discovered remnants of the hospital's grim past. One room, locked with a rusted chain, contained rows of antiquated restraints and faded patient journals. Flipping through one, Olivia's eyes widened in horror as she read accounts of experimental treatments and mysterious disappearances. The notes were signed with a familiar name, Dr. Alistair Crane. Amidst the decaying records, they found a map. It detailed a network of tunnels connecting various parts of the hospital, with one leading to a room marked restricted. Drawn to this clue, they followed the indicated path, their footsteps echoing in the silent corridors. As they neared the restricted room, a chilling sensation washed over them. The door, heavy and bolted from the outside, bore a warning, "Do not enter." The duo exchanged a fearful glance, knowing that whatever lay behind that door held the answers they sought. With a deep breath, Sam slowly unbolted the door. As it creaked open, a rush of cold air hit them, carrying with it a whisper of tormented voices. They stepped inside, bracing themselves for the chilling truths they were about to uncover. The room was unlike any other in the hospital. Vast and dome-shaped, its walls bore the faded remnants of intricate murals, depicting scenes of surgery and recovery. In the center stood an ornate surgical table, surrounded by instruments that gleamed eerily in the flashlight's glow. Shadows danced as Sam and Olivia moved their lights, trying to make sense of the room's purpose. As Olivia shone her flashlight towards the far end, she gasped. There, standing amidst the shadows, was a figure dressed in a tattered surgeon's coat, its face obscured by a bloodied surgical mask. The figure held a rusted scalpel, glinting menacingly in the dim light. It was the unmistakable visage of Dr. Alistair Crane. Frozen in place, the friends watched as the apparition slowly moved towards them, each step deliberate and echoing through the vast chamber. The temperature dropped further, and a palpable sense of malice filled the air. The very walls seemed to pulse with the weight of a century's worth of tormented souls. Summoning courage, Sam stepped forward, demanding, "Where is Leo? What have you done with him?" The figure stopped, tilting its head as if considering the question. Suddenly, the room was filled with a cacophony of disembodied voices, recounting tales of suffering and despair. Amidst the chaos, Dr. Crane's figure began to blur and shift, becoming more ethereal. as memories of his dark deeds played out around them. Just as quickly as it began, the room fell silent. The apparition of Dr. Crane had vanished, leaving behind only the chilling atmosphere and an even more profound mystery. Sam and Olivia, shaken to their core, knew they were inching closer to the truth, but at a cost they couldn't yet fathom. The eerie silence of the room was shattered by a distant, muffled cry. The voice, unmistakably Leo's, seemed to emanate from a concealed passage behind the operating table. Without hesitation, Sam and Olivia pushed the heavy table aside, revealing a hidden door, slightly ajar. The passage beyond was narrow and winding, leading them deeper into the bowels of the hospital. They followed the faint echoes of Leo's voice until they emerged into a chamber filled with old hospital beds. There, in the center of the room, bound and disoriented, was Leo. Rushing to his side, they quickly untied him. Leo's face was pale, his eyes wide with terror. "You wouldn't believe. He was here. Dr. Crane," he stammered, his voice trembling. Without wasting a moment, the trio made their way back to the entrance, the oppressive atmosphere of the hospital lifting as they neared the exit. Bursting into the early morning light, they took a moment to catch their breath, the horrors of the night still fresh in their minds. As they recounted their experiences, Leo rolled up his sleeve to reveal a fresh scar, intricately stitched and still healing. "I don't remember how this happened," he whispered, horror dawning in his eyes. "But I had a dream, or maybe it was real, of being on that operating table, with Dr. Crane standing over me." The chilling realization that Leo had been subjected to the ghostly surgeon's touch made their escape all the more miraculous. While they had emerged from the hospital's haunted depths, the scars, both physical and emotional, would remain with them forever. Weeks had passed since the harrowing night at Elmdale General. The trio had tried to return to their normal lives, but the shadows of that night lingered, casting a pall over their once unbreakable bond. They met at a quiet cafe in town, each carrying the weight of unspoken fears and memories. Over cups of coffee, they pieced together the fragments of their experience. Sam had delved into the hospital's history, uncovering old newspaper clippings and medical records. He discovered that Dr. Alistair Crane had been a pioneering surgeon in his time, but his methods had grown increasingly erratic and cruel. Rumors of unauthorized experiments and unexplained patient deaths had culminated in his sudden disappearance. Olivia, ever the researcher, had sought out survivors and families of former patients. She learned of a secret society that had once operated within the hospital, with Dr. Crane at its helm. Their aim had been to unlock the secrets of life and death, no matter the cost. Leo, still grappling with his trauma, revealed he'd been having recurring dreams. In them, he was back on the operating table, with shadowy figures observing from the periphery. Each time, Dr. Crane would lean in, whispering cryptic phrases about joining them and becoming immortal. Their shared ordeal had irrevocably changed them. While they had escaped the clutches of Elmdale General, its grip on their psyche remained. They made a pact that day, vowing to uncover the full extent of Dr. Crane's experiments and to ensure that no one else would suffer their fate. As they left the cafe, the sun setting in the horizon, they knew their journey was far from over. The mysteries of Elmdale General still beckoned, promising both danger and revelation. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Write in the comments what you think about this story.